I'm Jaden Sterling, and welcome to my podcast, Intuitive Investing. As an entrepreneur and someone who has taught people how to invest for 34 years, I have a good sense of what it takes to thrive as an investor. Each week on my show, I provide tools and tips, as well as interview world-class investors on their strategies. When your gut and research match, your ability to live a life of financial freedom is easy. Welcome to Intuitive Investing, and let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Intuitive Investing Podcast. I've got a great guest for you today, Bridget Brady. Bridget is in the house. How are you, Bridget?
Jaden, I'm amazing. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm so happy to have you here. I'll share with my audience your bio. Bridget is an enlightened entrepreneur. Of course she is. She wouldn't be on the show if she wasn't. Amazing speaker, social media authority, and #1 international best-selling author. Bridget's totally passionate about helping entrepreneurs and business owners get the tools they need to catapult their business success. Her company, you're gonna love this, Amp Up My Biz, provides full service custom marketing solutions and world-class training, including social media training, marketing, website design, development, email marketing, blogging, graphic design. She does it all, and she is here to share some jewels with us on intuitive investing in your business and in life. Bridget, welcome to the show.
Again, so excited to be here. That intro sounded great. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Absolutely. So where are you zooming in from today?
I am zooming in from beautiful Thousand Oaks, California. You can't see my view, but it's really nice. Mountains and trees, and it's really beautiful. So yeah, I live here in Thousand Oaks with my very, very recent fiance. We just got engaged.
Fun.
So yeah, beautiful Thousand Oaks with my fiance, living the dream, but for real.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. Yay. Good for you. I love that area. I used to live in Southern California back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but I found it really overwhelming, like so much traffic, and you had to just be this ninja style networker because everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And I was like, I don't know, this it's for a certain type of personality. I think that's a phenomenal place to be. Yeah. So you must have that really outgoing. I mean, you're like, oh yeah, I wrote the book on an extrovert, right?
No, well, I will tell you two things. For those of you who don't live in Southern California, there are like these sort of clumps of what Jaden is talking about, like crazy, like city and traffic and parking and just like so much energy, like it's hard to be there sometimes. But there's like certain sort of hills you can cross over into other little valleys and suburbs, if you will. And so what's really interesting, if you ever come to visit me, Jaden, you will see, if you're coming from LA and you kind of like drive over this hill or this pass, and literally like the aura kind of drops away and it gets really quiet. And so Thousand Oaks, where I live, is actually on the border of Los Angeles and Ventura County. So so the thing that I'm going to say is I agree with you. I love Southern California. Los Angeles is insanity. Like people who live in LA, I'm like, oh, I don't know how you do that. I'd rather live a little out and drive a little further. It's okay with me. But yes, so that is that. And intimate secret is I'm actually an extroverted introvert. I'm secretly an introvert, but I love these moments. I love these moments of being an extrovert, and then I go back into my cave.
Okay, that's the magic. Okay, because I would think you would be like a extrovert squared or something, like just someone who's so extroverted. All right, so that makes sense. So you put yourself out there, do your thing, come back to the home base with your fiance, get grounded again, and gotcha.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So tell us, how did you get involved in what you're doing now?
So my background is in corporate America. So I was an IT project manager. I was an IT software developer. I worked in New York City on Wall Street for 7 years. if you want to talk about intense energy, go work on Wall Street for 7 years. I don't want to say the only way I could do it, but I lived in New York City from the age of 17 to 27. That is the perfect time. That's the perfect time to live in New York City, as far as I'm concerned. So I was in corporate America in 2010. Long story short, I used to call it my year of financial ruin. I now call it my year of the Phoenix. In 2010, I burnt my entire life to the ground to recreate it. I had lost my very high-paying consulting job. I lost my really nice place to live 1 block from the ocean here in Los Angeles. I sure did. And my boyfriend left me. To add insult to injury, my friends are like, he was in it for the money. I'm like, whatever it was, like everything was gone. So in 2010, I burnt my life to the ground. And then, sort of speaking of intuition, like listening to the whispers, I spent a couple months lying on my floor, feeling really, really sorry for myself, truly. And then after a couple months, it really was like I heard like this little knock from the universe that literally was like, Bridget, you have talked about being an entrepreneur for years and years and years and years. You talked about it, you dreamt about it, you schemed about it. Like, now is the time. So 2010, I picked myself up by my bootstraps. I started doing my own companies. Like, you can call it failing forward. It was mostly failing. Like, for a year or two, I just kind of kept failing at things. And then again, back to intuition, man. Then I truly, like, another like knock from the universe was like, Bridget, do you remember before you lost your job, you took this super expensive, super amazing online marketing course that I never got to use because I had my job, but I took this course. It was incredible. And the universe is like, maybe, like, see if there's anything in there for you. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I pull my binder out. Yes, binder. I took this class in like 2008 or 2009. I pull out my binder. I start literally like going through online marketing and social media and all these things, applying them to my businesses. And then the rest was kind of history. So then my businesses grew. I got to move to a nicer place. My friends and colleagues were like, help me, help me, help me. How are you doing this? How are you creating all this new business? And I was like, oh, social media, online marketing. Like, this is the jam. So then in 2015, I opened my current business, Amp Up My Biz. And because I just realized that it was so much more interesting to me to help other people like exponentially grow their businesses. Like, that was just a much more interesting game for me to play than kind of staying and like trying to do my own little thing. I really like opened up and expanded and started helping others. And here we are, whatever, 8 years later. 8 years later, I have a team of 15 genius marketers, and we've helped thousands of businesses. And looping all the way back to intuition, like, it literally was like these little messages I was getting. Open your own business. You've been waiting. What do you think about social media? Like, literally little messages, and little messages like when I started helping other people, from between the people and my own intuition and the little messages, was like, this is a business, Bridget. Like, helping other people with their online marketing is a business. I was like, oh, it is. And here we are. There you go. Long story medium.
A long story medium. I love it. Wow. There's a lot there. Thanks for sharing that. And have you found that when you're following that inner guidance, things get easier rather than more difficult? Like, I know for me, it eliminates the spaghetti thing, right? Like, oh, just do your business, like throwing a bunch of spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. It's like lightning focus, like, okay, call this person today, reach out to this person. So when you have these series of wins and momentum, let's say momentum, once you get going and things are rolling along, how did you go from a solo entrepreneur to a team of 15? What was that journey like for you?
That's such a good question. So I will give so much credit where credit is due. So I'm a big believer in mentors, big believer. I've studied with all of them, T. Harv Eker and Laurel Langmeyer and Craig Duswald and Larry Broughton and Blair Singer and Alex Mendosian, and I could go on and on and on and on. So Larry Broughton, I got to give some credit here. So Larry Broughton is a 9-figure entrepreneur, hotelier, amazing leader and trainer and coach. He's just incredible. And he's been friend and mentor to me for, a long time, like 13 years, like a very long time. And he was really the one that said, if you actually want to grow a business, if you actually want to do this thing that you say you want to do and become a 7 or an 8-figure entrepreneur and all the things, he's like, team, like you will never, ever, ever do this by yourself. And I will tell you, when I hired, oh gosh, really my first few people, like I was hiring way ahead of revenue, way ahead of revenue. Like I was like, I don't have the money to hire a person. And again, Larry was like, but you'll never have the money to hire a person because you're so stuck in like the nitty gritty little things that you shouldn't be doing in your business that like, how will your revenue ever grow? And so I give credit to him, but it also was, I got to sort of a do or die point. It was about 2 years into my business. I think I hired my first team member in 2017. It's about 2 years into my business. I was working literally, and for those of you who've never done this, it's harder than you think it is. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week, set just 7 days a week, week over week over week over week. And I had how many clients? I had like 8 to 10 clients. And I spent like, 8 to 10 clients, and I spent about 10 hours a week on each of those clients to get their social media done. And I hit my own point. Like Larry's over here saying, you got to hire a team. I'm over here working 100 hours a week and like barely breaking even, honestly. I mean, it was so ridiculous. And there was no other choice. I mean, the choices were, quadruple my prices and cut my client list in half and just be like a consultant, honestly, not a business owner, just be a consultant, or hire a team and grow a business. And I just knew, again, so many things back to intuition. I knew, like, one, thank you, Larry, but two, it just, this, Jaden, like someone says something, you're like, oh yeah, that's the right answer. Like, you just know it. I know it immediately. So that's how it started. And then, whatever, hire, we just kept, as we grow, team grows. So that's how it happened.
It's so true. It's like like you said it perfectly, the difference between a kind of a wannabe solopreneur, entrepreneur kind of person struggling, trying to do it all, wearing many hats, to letting go of control, right? Allowing for people to step in. So did you have any fear around that? Because it sounds like at that point you were looking at this going, all right, I need to figure this out. And it doesn't sound like you were hugely flush in cash. So how did you make that leap? What'd you do?
So I had a ton of fear around it, on it, like a ton. I was so nervous. And so now I am, for this it's getting a little bit, I don't want to say technical, but now I'm a big believer in full-time W-2 employees. Like, end of story. Like I'm a believer. They full-time employees give you full-time effort and energy. In my experience, although this is how I started, like part-time 1099 team members typically give you part-time, do the minimum, get my little hourly wage kind of thing. That's been my experience. But the answer to your question is, I was incredibly worried about it. So my first few team members were all part-time, like barely above minimum wage, 1099. And so I could always like do their hours or their pay a little bit against client work. I'd be like, okay, I have this money coming in. You can have this much money to do this project. I mean, it was very by the skin of my teeth, honestly. Like those first couple of years of hiring team we're exceptionally by the skin of my teeth. And it really wasn't until, for me, it took a couple years to really get it. And for me, it wasn't really till 2019 that it sort of everything came together, right? The confluence of knowledge and skill set and team and business acumen, and like everything finally came together. And then when that happened, then everything took off. So that was my journey a little bit.
Yeah. So it seems like too that timing, 2019, a huge tipping point for your industry, right? Everyone needs to have a social media presence. They need to be online. Um, the I'm curious though, are you brick and mortar now or still working remotely, and same with your employees?
Yeah, we're all virtual. We always have been. And I mean, I don't know. We might always be, because I have team all over the country. So for me to turn brick and mortar, I'd have to like fire most of my team and start over. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, so we're virtual, which I love. I love it. I love it.
So smart, keeping the expenses down and minimizes that. You don't have to pass those on to the client. Excellent. So what's the thing that you love to do most every single day in your business?
There's a couple things. So one is speaking, teaching, empowering, training. I love this piece of the puzzle, right? It's exactly like I feel so at home. I'm like, give me a microphone, put me on a stage, I'm good. Like that's where I'm most at home. So that's one. And I mean, I have like a big speaking gig in Vegas in like a week, you know what I mean? It's a big platform thing. Like I love that. The other thing that I really love, and it happens so often now, is just watching people win in their little ways. So now like we have our done for you clients, and then we also have students who come through our Social Media Success Academy. And man, I mean, I've almost every day, I find a reason that I either cry or could cry. Just all their little wins of their ahas. And oh my gosh, I got 1,000 new followers and I got 2 new clients out of nowhere. And just like watching the growth in people. And then for our done for you clients who are typically bigger, watching them and do like, I had an $800,000 month. I just crossed $3 million. I'm like, and my work here is done. Like I've done it. I did the thing that I was wanted to do. So those are the two things: speaking and watching my clients and my students win. Those are my favorite parts.
Best answer I've ever heard. That's awesome. And it is satisfying, right? Because you know you're making an impact, you're
Yeah.
making a difference, you've got that ripple effect going on. And so you're in the trenches all day long. And it's, social media, it's such a noisy space. What actually gets traction for clients? Like what is it that people can do, or what do they need to know about posting, or certain channels to lean into other versus others to stay away from? What's some of your better recommendations for that?
Such a good question. Okay. So first and foremost, social media marketing is holistic. And I think that where people get stuck is they get so laser focused on, I need 10,000 followers, or I need so much engagement, or I need like whatever thing they think, or right, I need to be doing more reels. Should I be dancing? I hear this all the time. Should I be dancing on my reels? I'm like, I don't know. Is it congruent with your brand? Is it relevant to your audience? Because if it is, then dance away. But if it's not, why are you asking me if you should be dancing? Like, what? That's not even a question. Like, why are you asking me this? So I think that number one is the this is the quick and dirty, the 5 pieces of the puzzle that when someone either masters these themselves or like hires it out well, whatever, are consistently posting on your social. And we can talk about this a little bit more. I don't know how, I don't know how deep into the trenches you want to get, but pick your platforms, 2 to 6 platforms, depending on how big your team is, right? If it's just you, yourself, and I, 2, 3, maybe 4 platforms. If you have a team, 4, 5, 6 platforms, like spread the word. So one is consistent action over time, congruent with your brand, relevant to your audience, just be really consistent organically, because what that does is builds your visibility and your credibility. So that's one. 2, yes, followers. So whether you're doing paid follower campaigns or giveaways, or you're doing some organic growth strategies, social media is the great equalizer, and perception in a lot of ways is reality. And you cannot ignore, if you go to someone's page and they have 27 followers, it creates an impression, right? They're like, this isn't great. Okay, so organic, followers, engagement. Again, all the things, right? Social media is a dance with your, speaking of dancing, it's a dance with your audience. It's an energetic exchange of you engaging with them engaging with you, you engaging back. Don't be afraid to get in conversations with people on social. Number 4, sometimes, my friend, you must donate to the Zuckerberg Fund. You have to. You just, I don't know. People are saying, I don't want to pay for social media. I don't want to do it. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Social media is the best targeted advertising on the planet today, bar none. You can target anyone you want. It is phenomenal. It is the best bang for the buck of all my clients and all my students. So number 4 is spend some money on ads and boosts. And then number 5, where are you leading people to? What does your funnel look like? What is your client journey? So I know it sounds like overly simplified, and it's not. Like, there are pieces of the puzzle to learn on all 5 of those aspects. But the reality is, if you, not you, Jaden, but you, if one is, an 8 or 9 or a 10 at all 5 of those pieces of the puzzle, I promise you it will bring new business in the door every time. Like, I've never seen it fail in being in business for 8 years. Never seen it fail.
I love it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But for right now, Bridget, we're going to break to a really special announcement that we've got for Bridget. Can you see my screen?
I can.
All right, Bridget, you're going to love this. We put together software called Sterling Stock Picker. That's sterlingstockpicker.com. And it helps novice investors invest like experts. So you worked on Wall Street. I worked on Wall Street. I worked on it on the side of the investment advisory committees, and just noticed how corrupt that space is and how much they're out for themselves. You know what I'm saying by that, Bridget? Like, the industry.
I do. Yes.
It's just awful. But from an insider's perspective, I realize I've got to help people. I've got to change this up for folks. So 5 years ago, Bridget, we sat down with my team and we created some amazing software called Sterling Stock Picker. Last year, we won the best SAS, best financial services company, SAS award. So that was pretty sweet. We were up against some incredible competitors, and I'm a huge believer in transparency. We post, Bridget, get this, we're up 103% over the previous 30 days above the indexes. That's our return. So if we were a mutual fund, there would be a line around the door with people wanting to invest with us. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we do. We empower the investor, whether you're a novice or an expert, to find winning stocks. Because imagine when you can go somewhere to software that's easy peasy, nothing complicated, super intuitive. Of course it is. When you come to a place like this and find winning stocks, imagine how your life changes. It's so cool. Bridget, look what we've done over the past 12 months. We're up 134%. That's
amazing. That's honestly cool. Amazing. Well, especially how volatile the markets have been.
Exactly.
Really impressive, honestly.
This is our 5-star stocks, which we're patent pending on our algorithms and our software. 5-star stocks are completely crushing the performance in the markets. Everyone, check it out. You can even go here for free. Did I say free? 0. Look at this basic plan, $0 a month. We don't even ask for your credit card. If you're interested in upgrading for 29, less than $1 a day, you can get access to winning stocks that are going to make a huge difference in your portfolio and outpace inflation, because that's huge. Inflation's everywhere. Can you believe, Bridget, the inflation rate right now?
No, I can't. And I hear it from honestly, like my clients and students, is they're like, oh, I would love to invest more in ads, but like the price of everything has gone up so much that like I might want to scale down or do something else. And of course, I know that it's really time to double down, but that's a whole other conversation. But yes, the answer to your question is I mean, not in my life. I don't know in my lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen like inflation like this and rates go up like this. Not in my lifetime that I can remember since I've been like an adult and really am cognizant. So this is pretty amazing.
Thank you. It is. And people, it's I hear it all day long from folks, and I know you do as well, about it's like you got to be able to, like you say, double down on the advertising, everything that you're doing. And also, so imagine if someone had investments that were going up in value, at least enough to outpace inflation. Our average performance return is 30%. Some have gotten way more than 30%. So y'all check it out, sterlingstockpicker.com. That's sterling like sterling silver, stockpicker.com. And the whole thing about doubling down, I want to talk about that for a second, because you are so right. Whether it's investing in uh, business growth through ad space, hiring companies like yours, like keeping that flow going. And it's so important regardless. Now, it's easy to say that for business owners and people who have, money in the bank and they're comfortable, but for that business owner who's like, bootstrapping their operation, bringing themselves up, you said it so well, the steps that people can take to maximize their social media, be authentic, do the things in a crowded space that not they can stand out, but also be consistent with their message.
Mhm.
So let's say you got an entrepreneur watching the show and they're like, I love what Bridget's saying. I agree. I need to invest in some type of ads. Where do they go? Are they LinkedIn ads? Are they Facebook? What do you think?
Yeah. So today, not just from my experience, but from my experience and lots of experienced colleagues, as much as sometimes I think they're the devil, the most effective ads we're seeing today are on Meta, are on Facebook and Instagram. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. One is there are 4.3 billion people on social media today. 4.3 billion active. Actually, there's about 4.6 billion on social, but I like who's active on social. 4.3 billion. And of those 4.3 billion, we have over 3 million on Facebook. I feel like I can't even, Instagram's growing so fast still that I'm like, I think they're almost at 2 million now. I mean, it's so, and of course there's crossover, but two things. One, your client, your customer is almost certainly on Facebook or Instagram. Now, they might also be on LinkedIn, they might also be on Pinterest or YouTube, etc. But you kind of know they're there. Like it's a really good base to stand on. And then the other reason is, although all of these platforms have a big brother aspect, because Facebook especially, and Insta, but because Facebook is so ingrained in your personal world, my friends, they know every single thing about every single one of your clients and customers. And as a human, you can feel any way you want to feel about that. As a business owner, you should get so excited about that because you have the opportunity to put your products and services and message in front of the exact people who are looking for it. I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing. So number one, ads, Facebook, Insta, I'd go first. Second, I would go either YouTube or LinkedIn. and it depends on your industry. So YouTube is great because you also don't need to spend a fortune. YouTube ads are run through Google. If you don't know this, Google owns YouTube, which, by the way, is why YouTube videos get featured in Google searches. So Google owns YouTube. YouTube ads are run through Google. And I also like those ads, not usually as much as Facebook, but it's a great way to get your video presence out there. And then LinkedIn, I also love, and you have to have a company page. So you can't run LinkedIn ads as a human. You have to have a company. And then where, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, you can get away with like $35 a day. That's not where I would have someone land, but you can get away with running an ad for like $35 to $50 a day and get results. On LinkedIn, you must, like, the bare bones minimum investment would be $100 a day. And when I run ads for people on LinkedIn, I have them spend $200, $300, $400 a day for their ads. So it's a very different animal. So if someone's listening and they're like, where do I start? I'd start Facebook, Insta, I'd explore YouTube. And if you're a larger company, LinkedIn's amazing, but you got to be ready for the ad spend.
Got to be ready. So where, in terms of the ad, are you driving traffic to a landing page with an easy consumable giveaway thing, or what do you do with that?
So this is what's cool about ads is you can do almost anything. So the answer is yes. You could do like what you're saying, you could drive traffic to a website or a landing page and either try to get the most amount of clicks, or what I recommend is you do a conversion ad, right? You want someone to like actually click through and take action. So you can do that. You can do video view ads. If you are a brick and mortar, you can do brand awareness ads. So again, like why I'm such a fan on so many levels, and not all platforms give you all of these options. Meta does, like Facebook, Instagram does. You can do ads to get more phone calls. You can do ads to get more messages. There's so many different possibilities, but yes, to your point, oh gosh, there's so many ads I love. But to your point, I would say one of my favorites is having someone like opt in for an event or a webinar, or not so much like a little tiny freebie. Like those are pretty easy to get out through your organic social. But yes, one of my favorite ads is just like getting butts in seats. Let's just say that, right? Whether it's virtual or live, like that's one of my favorite tools to use for filling events, are ads.
Excellent. Thank you
That
for
helps.
that.
Yeah.
And, since we've got you, the expert in the house, in the past, I will be totally transparent. We have not had the best results with Meta or Facebook ads. It's been low quality. I even think they must have a team that just sits and clicks through people's ads all day long, because we eat up the ad spend, but the returns it's just not there. So what's the key?
Yeah.
What is it? What are we missing?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. Woo, okay. Ads 101 by Bridget Brady and Amp Up My Biz. Okay. So number one is the ads, and Facebook will tell you that they don't do this, but I'm telling you, they do. After testing, I'm telling you. So and they know this, it works on a bidding strategy. It works on an auction strategy. So for example, right, we'll talk about me. Like I'm targeting, if I want to target entrepreneurs and business owners who are interested in learning social media, right? It's oversimplified. And I'm spending $400 a day, and someone else comes in and they're spending $35 a day. Who gets all the good leads? I do, every time, because I'm just constantly outbidding this person for leads, just all day, every day. So one is, what I found is increasing your ad spend. And I tell people, don't do this right away. Start slow, start low, go slow. But when you reach a decent tipping point in ad spend, the quality of the leads is exponentially better. I'm like, oh, this is where all the good leads were, right? All the good leads were where I spend more money. That's number one. Number two is, depending on who ran your ads in the past, or for those of you thinking like, I should run ads, you really want to focus on 3 different audiences. And I think the mistake that most people do make is that they focus on their cold audience, which is your targeted traffic, which is women living in Thousand Oaks with strawberry red hair who wear red shirts, right? Like, that's fine, right? I'll see that ad, but people put so much focus into their cold audience, and some more advanced strategies teach us to use warm audiences of people who visited our website, people who watch our videos, people who engage with our social, a lookalike audience of our best clients, right? So like that warm audience is really, I think, one of my favorite audiences. And then finally, and my clients are sometimes reticent to this, and it always works out for them, run ads to your hot list, to your list. And people are like, but they're already on my list. I'm like, yeah, but how many of them are opening your emails? And how many of them are responding to your emails? And then you don't have the double whammy of like, oh, I got this email from Jaden. Oh my God, that's Jaden. Oh yeah, I did want to go to that thing, right? And so I think that those, having a good budget, testing your collateral. Oh yeah, and testing your collateral, right? Don't just make one video and one piece of copy and be like, why isn't this working? Right? So like tons of videos and tons of graphics and tons of copy. And between all those things, I know this isn't simple, but I'm a compulsive truth teller. I have to just tell the whole truth. All those things put together will get you results. Like they will, but you got to do all the things.
Such great advice. Thank you. Thank you. That you just gave us like the keys to the kingdom right there.
There you
You're
go.
awesome. So Bridget, you have tell the audience about your special event coming up. They need to know this.
I do. I'm so excited. So I have a 5-day free masterclass, and it is all about getting results on social media. So I am a woman who loves social media, but I actually do not love social for the sake of social. Like, I love social for building your business. End of story. So we spend 5 days together, about an hour-ish a day, and we go over all the like really important things that you need to know to move the needle in your social media. So everything from building your content calendar to what specific platforms are perfect for your business, to ninja secrets of my posting strategies of like how much to post of what different content type really starts getting that algorithm love, to putting everything together and the holistic approach I was talking about with like, how do we put all those pieces of the puzzle together to get results on your social. So that is coming up. And because I am a lover of the Jaden Sterling, we actually have a link just for you, just for his guests. And it's jaden.ampupmybiz.com, jaden.ampupmybiz.com. I know it'll be in show notes, but just register through that link, and then we'll know you're a friend of Jaden's. And we take really good care of everyone, but it'll just be nice to know you're a friend of Jaden's.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you for your candor today. I know I'm going to be there. So y'all show up, because I'll be there and we can compare notes and talk about all the amazing content Bridget's going to share. So thank you for that. You're amazing. You're awesome. Thanks, Bridget.
Jaden, this was such a pleasure. I'm so glad that we got to dive into some of this, and just thank you so much for having me. It was amazing. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. I'm so grateful for you. I know my audience is grateful. So thank you. Tell us, I mean, we'll have all your links and everything in the show notes, but what's the one thing, the one place you want people to go to right when they're inspired to hear this video?
The best place really is my website, because it has all the things for you to dive into. And that's ampupmybiz.com, ampupmybiz.com. And you can find me obviously everywhere on social at Amp Up My Biz. So anywhere on social at Amp Up My Biz, you will find me, and I would love to connect with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Bridget. Love to have you back on the show at some point. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Jaden.
Thanks everyone for listening to this episode, and tune in for next week's episode. Lots to share with you. Have a great week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Intuitive Investing. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. For other helpful resources, please visit sterlingstockpicker.com. That's STERLING stockpicker.com to access free intuitive investing training.